Okay, it is 1:38 p.m. and I had one trade with CFRX, and today has been really bad in terms of day trading. Just not really good. And I know I talk a lot about having a dollar risk level, and right now it is a $20 risk level. And whenever I have like a red day, it's normally nowhere near the $20 risk level, and that's because I kind of account for worst case scenario in the trades that I take. And this is the first time since I started trading listed stocks primarily that I even have gotten close to the worst case scenario. I had one trade with CFRX that did not work out at all, and this was like worst case scenario right here. And just to kind of go over what the day was for the most part, I was looking at this one because it was up a lot. But this one I never traded because it was just way too sketchy. I didn't like how you can see right here this day before traded with so much volume. And then we had this gap up here, and then the news was just it's not even there anymore. But the news was horrible. It was like nothing actually worth trading. So this thing just essentially tried to hold VWAP, but it eventually sold off. And there was a point when I was looking at this, just because it looked like an inverse head and shoulder, shoulder, head, and the shoulder right here, kind of worked out, but then it eventually failed. So I wasted time looking at this one, but at least I never traded it because I knew it just had really bad fundamentals. And I also didn't like how I had this previous run up right here with a whole bunch of volume. So essentially, this thing's just going to get sold into because we have a lot of bag holders from here that are finally break even or maybe even up on their position and they're selling. And then the previous day that barely moved had a whole bunch of volume as well. So lots of selling price action and then really bad news. Never traded it for that reason. And that's a good thing. And then this is the one that did get me. I was kind of upset because I missed out on this one. This one looked like it was going to break above this 225 level. And it eventually did. But what happened was is that I just didn't like how, it was working here, and then it made a higher move and it broke above it, and then it sold off, and then I wanted to take an entry, but I just hesitated on this one, unfortunately, and then it started to work out pretty nicely. The volume wasn't really there for this one to be kind of smooth. It just kind of got to the point very quickly, so I missed out on this one, which was upsetting. And then I'm not sure which other stock it might have been. I think it was this one too. There was another one that I missed. I don't think it was this one, but there was a few setups that I missed, and then what was ultimately happening was is that after missing so many setups, it got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this. Oh, this was one I missed here. CFRX had an inverse head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder, and I was looking at the one with the one I wasn't working, this one, right? So then I was like, that was dumb. Why was I thinking about trying to take a trade with this one? As you can see, it's around 1040 when this one around the same time period. I was looking at both of them, ended up being the one that worked out. This one had just a better chart overall, which looks horrible here, but it wasn't anywhere near with the amount of red flags that LHDX had. So yeah, I missed out on this one. And then I was thinking of like a second higher low off of the inverse head and shoulders, and then this one did work out. And it just really got me, missing all these setups and all. And I guess I FOMO'd because at 11:02 I got in at 566, which was right here because it was looking like it was going to break above this range. And as soon as I got in, I realized that I screwed up because I told myself not to really take stuff like that unless it actually is breaking above the levels, because there's a lot of fake outs, especially with this one having fake outs multiple times. And then I was in it right here. And then for a brief moment, you can see it actually kind of broke past the range a little bit. And what got me was that I was trying to sell just a portion of the position, thinking if it just makes a little spike and then it fails, I'm going to at least sell some there. So what happened was is that I had my position, I changed it to 5 shares, and then it started selling off right here. So I was a few seconds late because I had to basically redo it and then sell the entire position, and I did get out because it was breaking below this range that I thought was a risk level, this 548-ish level. And yeah, just big red candle wiped me out. I got out at 15.14. So yeah, this one really sucked. for that reason, because I missed out on so many setups that did work out, and then the one I take didn't work out, and it had that thing where it started to sell off when I wasn't able to get out of it quickly, and I didn't take into consideration I could have used speed key, so that would have helped me as well. And yeah, it just really stinks because I missed out on all of those setups, and then the one I take really didn't work out. But that's fine because this is the first time in a really long time I ended up losing, anywhere close to my worst case scenario. So I think it's gonna be fine, and I'm not really looking at anything anymore. I'm starting to work on other things. That's pretty much it for right now. Yeah, this one was a nice breakout right here. Yeah, I just need to learn not to hesitate on setups because then I might end up pushing myself to trade something that wasn't as ideal. Again, this one not really breaking above the range all that nicely. And it sold off, so that's what I get. And I'll make an update later, if not when the market is closed. It is 11:14 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I'm going to be down on the day, 15 bucks, 45 cents, trading CFRX, and this one just got me good. It got to my risk level, and I thought worst case scenario was 5 bucks, and it got pretty close, and it didn't work out. And then it was also very unlucky that when it was working here, I wanted to sell just a portion, so I did have, like, I think, I don't know, a small amount, like maybe 5 shares, and I was messing around with the order entry box, and then it started selling off like it did with all of this volume. So then I wasn't able to sell immediately, but instead I had to, go and click and then make sure I have the full position. So those few seconds really got me because I was in the setup for just a minute and 10 seconds, and that just shows how quick it was. And it wasn't even the best setup because there are cases when I will consider a stock that is approaching a breakout level very aggressively, and I will buy. And there are times when I should only consider a breakout setup, if it actually breaks the level, not looks like it's going to break it. And this was an example of one where I should have waited for an actual breakout, because you can see it just failed a whole bunch of times. And even though it did break it here, it never actually closed above the breakout level. So that's one thing to take into consideration as well. And now that I'm looking at it, it could even be like a head and shoulders, so shoulder, head, shoulder, although the head isn't really that high up. Really unlucky because, all of the other setups that I was looking at worked out, and then this one absolutely failed. But that's pretty much it. I also need to take into consideration that the trades that I take right now, even this one being a $15 loss, is not going to change my life, because I'm trading a $20 risk level. So I need to be more aggressive taking setups that I see that are good, and that would have helped me greatly here. And then in that case, I wouldn't have maybe have even considered it because I didn't have like that FOMO mentality going on. And, I could have just avoided this. So, yeah, that's the situation with that. Yeah, I just need to take the setups that I see, and eventually, if I keep getting better, I can be able to trade larger, and then those larger trades are gonna really matter because there's gonna be a lot more money being made or lost if it doesn't work out. Yeah, just really unlucky that all of these things came together in one day, but it could have been much worse. It could have halted for all I have known, and then that would have been much worse. So yeah, that's it for today. Great lessons. The bar is set low for tomorrow.